And welcome back to another episode of Leyendas Productions. It is your host, Rusty, and welcome back. Well, let's jump right into it. We're going right into UFC 254 results and reactions. At the main event, we had Leon Edwards beating Sean Brady, and really I felt like Sean Brady pretty much dominated Leon Edwards, although Leon Edwards landed some pretty nice strikes, the crispier shots, but Sean Brady was actually surprisingly effective with his hands and backing up Leon Edwards, and I think that kind of was giving him trouble. And also I think the constant threat of this guy being able to take him down was something that was sleeping behind the back of his mind. So I think that made Leon a little bit hesitant when it came to his striking and really expressing himself offensively. But that's not to take away from Sean Brady. Although I am not a fan of his fighting style, I find the man's fighting style to be extremely boring. Not that that matters because he won, but I really is not a guy that I enjoy seeing fight because I think his fighting style is very boring. He kind of reminds me of a better Ankalaev almost, just very not fun to watch. Although I like watching grappling matches, Sean Brady and Ankalaev are two type of grappling fighters that I'm just not a fan of. But nonetheless, it was a good performance by Sean Brady. I thought his game plan was very effective, but there was a little bit that falls on Leon Edwards, and his fighting IQ is clearly suffering right now. I wonder how much of that is, I don't know how you can explain him shooting that shot at that moment when he was actually winning in the stand-up at that point. I think he was getting the better of the exchanges. And then him shooting for that takedown is just, I don't know, tip-top idiocracy. It's like, why would he do something like that? But it cost him the fight. Good job on Sean Brady on pressuring him, backing him up, making use of that grappling, and then pretty much just dominating Edwards and drowning him when he would take him down, and at moments even got his back, but he wasn't able to get any submissions, although he was attempting and was close at one point, even got like, what do you call that, the triangle wrapped around the waist. So he was pretty deep, but Edwards survived, and nonetheless he still got the submission. Good job again for Sean Brady, and I think that now he's probably the next one up to fight Bilal, and I think the first fight, Bilal handled it pretty easily. Sean Brady's improved a lot since then, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Damn, what's going on with my shadowing, bro? Hold up. But that was pretty much for the main event. Sean Brady takes the W. Leon Edwards, I really don't know where he goes from here. I really don't know what he even wants. I noticed that the main voice wasn't the same guy that gave him the motivational speech. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just takes a step back from fighting for a while. To me, he looked like he was out of it. I don't know. I could be wrong, but to me, it looked like he didn't really want to be fighting anymore. But that could just be me. I don't know. And then in the co-main event, we had a kick fest between Carlos Ulberg versus John Vlahovic. Is it Vlahovic? No, Blachowicz. And the fight was also not that great. Carlos Ulberg seemed like he wasn't willing to risk getting knocked out to inflict other than a leg kick. And John wasn't necessarily looking to also take unnecessary risks. But then again, that's how he always fights, right? He's not a fighter that necessarily is going to pressure you to like try to mow down a fighter. He's very patient. He's going to try to work a game plan. He tries to rely on those heavy hands and take his time and pick his shots. So nothing surprising on that end. Ulberg, I was a little bit surprised that he didn't try to make a statement. This was the perfect fight to pick up a name that's on their way back. John had been out for about 2 years at this point, and it was his first fight in 2 years, so I think he was ripe for a whooping, if you ask me. But, maybe this is testament to his UFC acumen and his fighting IQ, because clearly Ulberg wasn't really walking him down either. The majority of the fight was him just landing fucking leg kicks. He had some good kicks to the body mixed in as well. John got some good uppercuts. Some of those rounds were really close, so if you had it a draw, I think if it was a draw, I would like it better. But I think they also want to move this division onwards. If John had won in the manner that fight went down, I think a lot of people would have been upset and no one would be excited for the future of the middleweight division. But now that is lightweight. I don't have my glasses on right now. If Alberg wins, though, it's fresh blood. It's a new character that's being fed through the UFC system. So, that's novelty being presented to the consumer. And I think that's really what they're looking for. So I'm not surprised that John lost that fight per se in such a close decision, because I just think this is conspiratorial at this point, by the way. I think maybe what's most likely, I guess, the leg kicks were accounted for significant damage. But nonetheless, Alberg wins. I don't think he's like a real threat to anybody. I would love to see him fight Jiri, but from what the rumors are is that most likely he'll be getting a title shot of some sort, which I don't know why, but I'd love to see him fight Jiri. That would be great. Or Jamal Hill or something like that. Someone who's not as awkward as John and is willing to give him a shot to exchange. I think that would make for a good fight for him. And in boxing, we had Fundora. I'm holding on to his belts, getting the TK. Dude is giant for his weight class, super thin, but he got the stoppage. That's pretty much what was going on this weekend in boxing. We got the UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Urseg, and then it's Emmett versus Murphy, and then it's UFC 4, and that's all week after week after week. And then I believe April, there's like a boxing fight in between that. But let's just jump right into previewing next week UFC. So I think this for Moreno is his chance to take care of young blood. Brandon Moreno gets a good W, but I don't know how soon he's back into the belt versus, what's this guy, the Brazilian guy fight. And honestly, Moreno is like the king of rematches. That would be like the second one in the UFC after having 3 with Figgy already. Dude is pretty much fighting. Brandon Moreno pretty much is fighting anyone and everyone in his division, and now Steve Ursa is a new challenge for him where he can possibly put himself into title contention depending on how the fight versus this guy for the belt ends up. I like Steve Ursa. I like his fighting style. He's very crispy, he's very sharp, he's a very good striker. So it's going to be a fun fight with Brandon Moreno. I think it's going to be a straight up striking battle, and I don't think any of them are gonna think of wrestling at any point, so I think it's a great main event to have in Mexico City. Then as a co-main event, we got Dober versus Manuel Torres. I'm clearly just looking at the record. I haven't seen Manuel Torres fight. I've seen Drew. He's the younger fighter. He's the one fighter that's clearly is on his way up. He has the fresher record. Drew Dober right now, he's sitting at 27-14 and 1 no contest. So, he's kind of a veteran at this. And my apologies if the audio is kind of crappy in a couple of those. I was trying to record and didn't realize that my thing kept disconnecting. I'm gonna have to So not sure if you guys got all of that, but my external microphone is not working, so I don't know why. It is Bluetooth and it wasn't cheap, so hopefully all of this is being recorded. But I was saying we have Kevin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. That's supposed to be a really good fight as well. Kevin Gastelum loves to fucking stand up and fight. Joe Pyfer, last time I saw him, he put on a great fight. I think that's going to be a good fight as well leading up to the co-main event. Then we have Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. Raul Rosas, I think he should be able to take that W. Morales has a record of 16-9, so he's definitely a threat and has been around the octagon for a while. But I'm hoping to see that maybe some of the Eddie Reynoso coaching to Raul Rosas Jr. has improved this. So I think he's going to be excited to put on a show there. After that, I really don't know the rest of the fighters, so I'm not really going to depth due to the audio issues and stuff, and really just out of content. I'm pretty much going to call it here. But that's all I've got for you this week. I'll be back next week to go over the results for UFC Mexico City, and maybe tune in next week or in the next 2 weeks. I got a special new upload coming up outside of the highly debated. I'll be going back into the deep dive episodes. Check out the Al Heyman episode. Let me know what you guys think. Really, it was just a video that was more on the investigative side, trying to pretty much put everything I was able to find on him that it's not conspiratorial or it's not like, hearsay, they say. But anyways, go check out that video, leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys got for this coming fight night, and let me know what you guys think of Fundora. Like, he should be going up in weight, right? He's like way too skinny to be fighting these little dudes. I'd like to see him, I don't know, he's almost gives me like lethargic vibes. But that's all I've got for you this week. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.